is the system biased? And before we roll our eyes, just want to talk a little bit about that, because
Hmm.
a lot of the gateway, as you talk about it, is we talk about you have to do mediation before
Hmm.
you can put an application into court.
Yeah.
And a lot of women can actually bypass that and get through to a solicitor straight away. So, in your own words, because they hear me bang on about it ad nauseum, talk us through that process.
Well, it came about from LASPO, Legal Aid Sentencing and Punishment of Offenders, which was enacted in 2013. And straight away, that only gave legal aid where there was domestic abuse. Now, allegations of domestic abuse are considered evidence of domestic abuse. And of course, there are women who have been abused, and will be abused. Right? And there should be proper criminal action against those who are doing it. But the system came about, may not have been invented already, I don't know, that only females can access these agencies, because I have it on their freedom of information with my MP. In constitution and practice, to only help female survivors of domestic abuse. So Kafka's works hand in glove with Women's Aid, because I know that from the management meeting at Kafka's, which I've referred to in the book as well. And so when you have the court's own advisors working hand in glove with agencies that will only discriminate purely on grounds of gender for access to services, access to legal aid, where the means tested would obviously mean the woman wouldn't get legal aid. She gets the injunctions, the ex parte injunctions. That's without notice. Kafka's commissioned domestic violence agencies, domestic violence intervention project, domestic violence perpetrator program, whatever acronym they want, is only for male perpetrators. So in case you're confused about how biased the system is, all you need to do is read the Jim Crow laws that used to exist till 1967 in the southern states of North America. There, you're guilty by colour. In the UK family court system, you're guilty by gender. Now, there's exceptions to that, and there are decent women who lose out terribly in this business. And I've known of mothers who just wanted a divorce. They can't stand the father. I wouldn't blame them there sometimes, but they just wanted a divorce. But once they're in this system, they're encouraged to make false allegations. I mean, the dog in my case was only brought about because the mother was told, I have it in print, the mother was told that she didn't have enough to get an injunction. Has you ever been known to abuse animals? So suddenly Shadow came howling to the rescue. Woof, woof. And I've known mothers who have tried to withdraw the allegations once it got into court, because of course they fear the family court. And I've known Kafkas and social workers tell them that we'll investigate your management of your children if you go ahead with this. You're in our system. See, and you don't screw our system. We are the system. And I've known mothers who've lost residence of the children by not being able to substantiate the false allegations, which they were encouraged to make at the initiation stages. Then they lose out totally. And of course, the father then too often is so embittered about what's happened to him
Yeah,
that he then won't let the mother see the child or the children.
yeah.
So you have parental alienation at the wellspring at all occasions.
Yeah.
You look at the continent and any developed nation, they have an inquisitorial system. You look at Finland, for example, it's only 2% of the expense of the UK, and it has infinitely better outcomes.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we're always told in the UK the welfare of the child is the paramount consideration, with zero validity. So, and once again, I blame the men in society for allowing it to happen. I'm sorry, the book has to stop somewhere.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think something else that I know I certainly talk about, and you talk about it in your book, is the idea of everything being so adversarial. I mean, solicitors love a good fight. And when you're stuck in that system, the last thing that you think and you want is that fight upon fight upon fight, right?
Well, what you have is legalized cage fighting. The mother, 95% of the time, there's exceptions, of course. Nominally, the parties are equal in the court. That's equivalent of giving two people, telling two people to get involved in a duel. One is a loaded pistol, one is an empty pistol, but you both have pistols. Same thing, you see? And you are in this idiotic system that for no particular reason, on average takes about 2 years, takes on average 6 to 10 hearings. I
Yeah.
mean, I know of a couple of cases of 80 plus hearings. Yeah, because these people involved in this they were experts at how would I say, reconciliation in senior banking structures and things like that. So they had the skill, but the children, all you have is a hollowed out wreck of a child.
Yeah.
Even at the beginning, I can look at photographs of children pre-divorce and post-divorce, and you look at the eyes, you'll see the difference. The openness, the trust, the innocence has been gone.
Yeah.
And there's a huge amount of evidence that's been suppressed of showing the damage to the emotional development of the children. And this is the part of the family court pyramid structure I have no forgiveness for and never will. As far as I'm concerned, there are many people in this business who should be looking at jail time for facilitating and promoting false allegations based on ideology and total disregard for the damage to children, but pretending to be about the children. It's like the first time I left Kafka's, when I noticed that no space for black men to sign in and their equalities directive, while they were processing me for shadow. He featured at that meeting as well, I might add. 2 pages became a typing error. I mean, that dog, I tell you, he caused a lot of problems.
He did.
But leaving that absurdity aside, and limping down the stairs with my walking stick at the time, the expression that came to me was, discrimination works best when cloaked with the guise of concern. Now, I don't know who gave me that. Okay, it's like a little arrow coming down, not like Cupid now. I know Cupid had an arrow, but this is a different arrow.
Different arrow.
And I realized that is so pivotal in this process, that the guise of concern is the discrimination, it's in secret, and that number one, the system protects itself brilliantly. It really is awesome at self-protection. 2, it is even more skilled at portraying itself as being purely about the welfare of the children. And I believe the professionals within it are so enmeshed in this, it's like a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have no other mantra. It's wide open to abuse by endless agencies and associations on the correct narrative.
Yeah.
I emphasize the correct narrative. There is a huge industry, as an Austrian MEP pointed out to me. She died last year, sadly, that woman. When I got to the European Petitions Commission, she said, I mean, this sentence, it's stunning. She said, it is obvious that in the UK, the welfare of the child means the welfare of the professionals at the expense of the child. Oh my God, that floored me.
Yeah.
That's it in one.
Yeah.
And what I couldn't get over was these female MEPs that Klaus had set me up with to meet after the brief petition, the hilarious petition. They couldn't get over, among the expressions I heard from these women MEPs, who are among the highest sections of authority, is that the UK family courts, which is by far the worst in Europe, I might add, and they know it, is draconian, stuck in the toxic 1970s feminist mindset, barbaric. And what they can't get over, and all these women, they don't shout about being feminists because to them, there's no need to shout about it. You're equal in society, you insist on equality, as you should, of course. And then you have equality down to varying abilities of the individuals. That's fine, okay? I can't do lots of things women can do, vice versa. We're meant to assist each other. They can't understand how the UK is stuck in this 1970s radical Marxist feminist mindset. And it wasn't until I met Erin Pitsey, who I wrote about in the book, and he did such a brilliant foreword, that was open so much. Because in a few sentences, I've always noticed that the truly capable people don't have to use big words or anything else. They can just nail it in simple sentences. I don't have that ability, but I'm trying to learn. And she has written a book called This Way to the Revolution. And so basically what you had was crazed freaks who just basically took over the entire family court system.
Yeah.
And it is absolute mind-boggling.
I want to talk about Brussels because there was, and I want you to just, because this one little story had me proper rolling
the party.
Lola, honestly. But you talk about being prepared. In fact, the 6-piece.
Oh yeah, yes.
And then, but you also throw in a bit of humour and a little bit of clowning seemed to go a long way. I want to tell everyone about what you did with the microphone. That honestly, I read it, I was howling.
Well, it's a funny thing. I spent years motorbike racing, but wasn't very good at it, apart from 2 occasions when I was desperate. And I got poor results, but I did far better than I ever had otherwise. I only seem to function in the far edges of lunacy almost, when I most function. Otherwise, I just don't really function. So we were told, and I got an email from the petition secretariat, that I would have 5 minutes to speak, because at that stage I had 4 ombudsmen. I hadn't got my last Kafka's parliamentary, but that's another one. I already had one. And because I was introduced as being the UK's foremost expert, which is a joke, well, maybe I am, on systemic failings, because the motion in the UK Petitions Commission was systemic failings of UK family court services. I mean, I couldn't have written it better myself. So we got to getting there was entertaining with the security clearances and all the rest. And Klaus had been so well prepared, and then he fell apart. And then I got him re-prepared, shall we say. And it wouldn't be a good idea to say on camera how I got him re-prepared, because, I fear jail sentences as much as the next. So when we got into the auditorium, this well-dressed, urbane Englishman approached me. And I knew, well, this fella meant trouble. I met a few of them in Northern Ireland. They're the ones who cause serious problems. And he says, regrettably, Mr. McGovern, you will not be allowed to present your petition. I thought to myself, okay, the dark forces are at work, but let's see how we can get around it. All right. So I thanked him for his information, mentally thinking, yeah. So away he went and sat down beside the Greek chair, a woman with a very heavy accent. Well, if I was Greek, I'd have a heavy accent too. So Klaus is his bit, and he referenced me. And I was given one moment, she said, to speak. Suddenly I had to ad-lib out of the blue. I had a lovely prepared statement. I practiced it 20 times. I could say it in 4 minutes, 57 seconds. Suddenly not necessary. So I thought, I didn't want to go through the 2-year program to get a petition off the ground. All right, that's the last thing I wanted. I might live 2 years. So I decided, she's a human. If she thinks I'm stupid, she might feel sorry for me. So you have you have these lovely little microphones, you see, but they're on a large base, you see, because they have the speakers there and they have all the controls for the 12 different languages or something. So I thought, okay, I'll show you what an Irishman can do. I lifted the whole lot up. I lifted the entire lot up and spoke into it, earnestly, as if I didn't know what I was doing. She obviously thought to herself, I've never seen such an idiot. I let him have his petition. So she said, okay, you do not have to. Your petition will be accepted.
Amazing. Just
it was like leaving the Kafka's, and the expression that came to me out of nowhere. I thought, what can I do? I was desperate. Yeah, because I didn't want to go through the 2-year. It'd get lost. It was actually better the second time we got to the European Petitions Commission, which was in 11th of November 2014. The first one was in 19th of March, and we got invited back. Oh my God. I mean, myself and Klaus were invited back to the petition. Now, the Children's EU Commissioner, a man called Rainer Wieland, lovely, big, strong man. He's a Children's EU Commissioner, he's an MEP. Klaus didn't even know he was his MEP till I educated him. Yeah, but that's life. So he invited us into his office on the morning we went over the second time. Lights up a fag, puts out his long legs and starts talking to us. And he shouts at me, executor. And I didn't know what he meant, executor. What he meant was actually execution of the order. Because the UK had almost a zero compliance with orders, you see. So once again, I had my 5-minute presentation down to about 4 minutes, 56 seconds this time. And he looked at it, he literally just threw it one side. And I'm thinking, that's my life's work. And he gave us what to focus on. So myself and Klaus went outside, some frantic scribbling. And once again, we found out that my 5 minutes was taken away. So Klaus says, I will share with you. Now listen, the man